Our next presentation is NEAR8. Jim Mathewson is the CEO and founder of NEAR8. Also one of the people that has done very hard work at the Consensus Conference with us this year in tracking down investors and business partners for all of our companies in the academy there. So I want to thank you, Jim, for being an instrumental force in that. NEAR8 is a fascinating project that I have known for a while. It is a mobile XR gaming platform, an immersive entertainment experience that allows users to connect their daily lives to a spatial metaverse and story world. And for me, having spent quite a bit of my career in digital media and entertainment, it is a window into what entertainment can look like in the metaverse. And with that, Jim and his team are going to present NEAR8.
Thank you for the introduction, Mariana, and thank you for putting together such a great 14-week program. It's really been a tremendous experience for all of us, I think. I've brought along two team members who are presenting and one other who's listening in. I've got Alec and also Arpit, who will be taking over for a couple of these slides. But just to start off, and this is slightly different from some of the other projects, there's been such a great breadth of Web3 projects in the Founders Academy. Ours is focused on gaming and entertainment, and specifically mobile gaming as an entry point to metaverse projects. And that's slightly different from the trends a year ago when you had Decentraland and Sandbox and everything that was not really built for a mobile experience, but was more based on the early days and of sort of like a Ready Player One type model where you're going into this metaverse, but it doesn't really connect with where you are. It doesn't really connect with your life in the real world. You're sort of building your own life in this metaverse world. So what we're trying to do is to have basically entry points throughout your day wherever you are and whoever you are. So you could be working at fast food restaurant, you could be at the water cooler in your office, you could be at Starbucks, anywhere in the world waiting for someone to show up. And we're trying to capture that moment of your attention span and that moment of your day to hook you in and actually define that as a point and a moment within our metaverse platform. So it creates this personal time hook, which makes you a part of our platform. And we'll start flipping through some of these slides here as we explain that more. And that really comes from the last few years of working on this project. We initially built it out as a Web 2 project that we planned to integrate with blockchain at a later point, and we tested that heavily on users early on to get feedback. And it was in the realm of XR at the time, and in terms of content that displays to you, similar to Pokemon Go in an overlay sense. And we really sort of pivoted and modified our business model and our whole thesis based on a lot of the user feedback that we got from people who were just out there in the world and were testing our project. Alec, could you flip to the next slide? So I think pulling together all of this sort of jumble of the digital world, there's all these great apps, there's all these great social media platforms and opportunities to connect with people and connect with micro communities and all sorts of interests, TikTok being the main example these days. But there's nothing really that sort of centers you in your world right now as part of a game or an entertainment platform. It sort of takes you out of your world and doesn't really matter where you are. So, we like the picture of the people on their phones who are just, going from app to app all day or from game to game all day. And it doesn't really matter where you are. It's not a personalized experience that really creates a personal connection to any of the content necessarily. So what we're trying to do is, and if we flip the slide, Alec, we're trying to build in all of these hooks throughout your day, and all of that happens on our mobile app. You know, we build out our app in Unity, and then we have the blockchain side that we partnered with Polygon Studios about a year ago and have built out the first stage of that on Polygon. And I'll let Arpit talk about that a little bit later. But the basic building blocks of this are modular mobile gaming as the entry point. It meets what users where they are right now and where their attention span is. We're not trying to, you know, take you to some website or get you to, you know, make a mental note to try something out this weekend on your computer. All of this can be accessed from your phone wherever you are in 1 minute or 5 minutes or whatever time you have to spend. And then as we call it, we have real world fusion everywhere. So it creates this excitement that you could be in the break room at work and you become a part of this app when you mint moments from your location. So it's not just that you're entering this fantastic story world and sort of leaving your world, you're also hooking yourself in to the world through our app. And a lot of this, you know, sort of evolution, I think, comes from, you know, the Pokemon Go type of XR model, which I think is great. And that's obviously, you know, as in terms of the first iteration of mass adopted XR experiences, the idea of the overlay really sort of mesmerizes people. And Pokemon was a great way to highlight that because, you know, for one reason, it works everywhere. So it can work, you know, not just at major landmarks or major cities. If you live in a small town in the middle of a country, it works just as well. And secondly, it has cohesion that has, you know, just one IP. So it's not Pokemon and, you know, 50 other types of, you know, Marvel characters or animated characters. It really just sort of has the cohesion that it makes sense from an IP standpoint. But when you think about sort of the overlay model, we're trying to build on that by having sort of a spatial model where we're defining moments which are, you know, coordinate based and time based and 5 other factors that we have in our blockchain hashtags that we create, our hashes. But we're trying to sort of create the impression of this world of interconnected moments that you're a part of that isn't just an overlay. So it's not that you're meant to, you know, have your phone out and look through the camera and see things in the world. It's really taking you from where you are right now into this sort of spatial abstract world that then has games which are built inside of it. So if you could flip the slide, Alec, please. So the moments, like I was saying, are the building block of our entire project. And that's sort of the interoperable initial blockchain-based, you know, it's essentially like a Lego that we use to build out all of our time hooks and all of our content. And whatever games we're building on top of that use this sort of interoperable framework. And, you know, we've got 2 games we've built now, which will show a gameplay trailer quickly here after this slide to give you a sense of what our spatial metaverse looks like. But those are just the first 2 games that we've built. And the moments are all, you can link them together so that, you know, you can combine different trajectories from your past or your future even, and use these moments as sort of like a Lego building block. Alec, can you flip to next slide? So we'll play a quick gameplay trailer here.
In the neon light, feeling so alive, with the bass pumping, I get high. Desire myself in the crowded night. Got me feeling like I'm out of this world. Got me feeling like I'm out of this world. Got me feeling like I'm out of this world.
Great, and I'll let Alec say a few words on our next slide about how our platform works and how the user sort of takes a role in influencing our metaverse world. And I'll let him take it from there.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much, Jim. So this is a little bit about how our platform works. As you may have seen in some of the last video in the trailer we just saw, we had these moments of kind of archival footage, and those are to represent like the two facets of this game, which is in this experience, which is we create and we play. So in the first half, we have users, they upload their own moments in time, which they mint through our app. They're stored on the blockchain, and they upload their own ones, and we also upload our own studio produced ones. So those can be anything from kind of personal memories, such as a childhood birthday party, to maybe more abstract or fictional ones like the fall of Atlantis, like we might produce, or even something perhaps that's looking at archival footage and looking at historical moments, but putting weird, interesting twists on them. So those are the ways that you upload those moments. And then we get, that's the create part, and then we enter into the play. And in the play, once they're in our metaverse, in our virtual story world, the NEAR8 virtual story world, users will be interacting with them in a series of quests where all the different gameplay will kind of interweave their moments, connecting them through narrative drops, through missions, through stories. Through stories. So it's this really interesting sweet spot of joining, allowing users to upload their user-generated content, and then still seeing it uploaded into our custom design framework. So you get that, you get the best of both worlds, essentially. You get both user-generated content and the benefits of users feeling like they're able to interact with and explore our space, while also having the benefits of a custom design narrative with actual, story arcs and expert design interactivity. So really try to stay in that sweet spot of participation and joins both creativity and playing within our framework. With that, we'll move on to our next slide, a little bit about our market.
Okay, thanks, Alec. So for the way we place this whole project, it fits into the mindset and like the daily usage patterns of phones, which is gravitating towards mobile games. So by combining, your favorite gameplay, core gameplay loops and gameplay dynamics, we're actually sort of working with the flow of your day and inserting all of these other interesting concepts into it that integrates you into it. So our market and our TAM is based on the total global games marketplace for mobile. And if you look at this, there's so many great PC games and console games out there. Mobile is really where all the growth can be, especially considering so many people in the world access games or the internet solely through their phones, particularly younger people in other countries like India, Brazil, a lot of our target markets for places where, particularly with younger people, the global games market is like exploding. So if we flip to the next slide, the market size in terms of users for mobile is 2.5 billion users who play mobile games, and that's growing exponentially. And within that, people using their mobile phones as an AR device has also been growing each year over year, and is really ripe for future growth and future integration beyond just filters and beyond just overlays through the camera. And in terms of the competition, we sort of place ourselves in this this universe, and we've divided it up, based on a few different charts that we see flying around on LinkedIn and on the internet and in various consultants' studies. But the spectrum is really defined by studio generated worlds versus user generated worlds. Who controls the IP at the heart of a project, essentially. And then in terms of Web3 integration and Web2 sort of immersive apps and immersive gaming experiences that are solely Web2. And we've sort of tried to place a number of these other projects, which are really exciting, on the same spectrum so that we can get a better grasp at where our project is compared to these other popular platforms and games. So if we could flip again. So on the business model, we're taking sort of a hybrid approach between a standard mobile game and also a blockchain-based project. So initially, the NFT portion of the project, which we've built out so far for minting moments, is not intended to be a major revenue generator for us right now. We're just asking for sort of nominal revenue contribution from users for that, because we're trying to encourage the minting of moments constantly throughout your day, throughout wherever you are in the world. And to do that, we've built it out on Polygon, and it's somewhat similar to the virtual real estate model, except that you're defining the hash, which is the equivalent of the plot of land. So you're defining the spatial plot of land essentially, and you're building things based on those building blocks on the blockchain. And for the revenue streams in the gaming side of our platform, we have a store that we've built out, and we have certain in-game assets which enhance your experience, which are similar to anything from Fortnite skins to Fortnite style skins to other tools and weapons that you need to sort of get through our various levels. And that is another area that we're looking to potentially integrate sort of a multi-chain. It's a multi-chain opportunity in the future, but right now that's just based on fiat that we're projecting that out. And then a further blockchain integration that we're looking at doing is user role-playing NFTs, which would be a revenue generator, which we would essentially be selling roles within our levels and within our games to users, which would be more like a PFP type project as opposed to a virtual real estate project, where it would be based on scarce user participatory role-playing NFTs that we would be minting. And with that, let's go back to that slide and let Arpit pick up there and talk a little bit. Just go back one slide out, and Arpit can do a little discussion of the technical side. Arpit, are you there? Is Arpit still here? Well, we'll see if he rejoins in a second. Alec, can you text him?
Yeah, I don't see him in the. I think he must have gotten booted from internet.
Oh, maybe he got booted off. Okay. Well, yeah, that basically covers what we were doing on the NFT side anyway. But we've actually built out the initial stage on Polygon, but we're looking at multi-chain opportunities for the future build out, and it's live on the Polygon testnet right now for our internal testing and beta testing, and we're looking to expand that more in the next few weeks. On the AI impact, which Arpit was going to talk about a little bit, and I'll just pick up there, we're looking at two different sort of integrations for AI, and it's really exciting to be able to include those based on this year's developments. but a lot of, what I think of as the potential for AI has to do with, invisible interfaces, eliminating friction, eliminating forms, eliminating, tedious online sort of information submissions in forms. And I think that what we've been building is a frictionless app experience where you can mint, and then the AI integration that we're pulling in helps you to flesh out the details of your moments without having to actually manually upload the details, which is, sort of the way our early project on the test net worked. We had to like manually define moments and all of these variables, whereas with the AI integration that we're building, it becomes more of a seamless chat experience, which is fun, as opposed to having to input information onto the web. And it allows for more creativity as well. And then with the text to image options, we're sort of building out, again, to facilitate users building out their own moments with options of, essentially, graphics and rooms that they can create based on their text, which is also very exciting. And on the fundraising side, we're looking to raise 3 million, which gets us to accelerate quickly through our next series of milestones and build out. And we have a full team of 4 full-time people right now, plus a number of part-time people. And we're making progress each week on the build out of the game, and also on the blockchain side. And our next milestones to sort of scale this would be built out with this fundraising, which would allow us to make it, a scalable, larger project. And then let's see, I think we can skip through this, like the why now. There's obviously the metaverse was, huge last year, and then the hype cycle, understandably, it deflated a bit. But there's still so many great projects and brands that are really looking at ways to integrate. I think the metaverse 2.0, that is the next stage of what an immersive metaverse would be, and that's where we're trying to be. Not in the first stage with PFPs, but having a sustainable ecosystem that we can continue to build out on a modular basis in years to come, that isn't sort of a flash in the pan project. And our team sort of is multidisciplinary, and our core team ranges from Unity developers to immersive experience designers to more on the artistry side and the creator side. So we've got the initial building blocks are a great team that works really well together. And then just flipping through a couple of these slides, our first 2 modular mobile games are the ones that were in that gameplay trailer that we played earlier on, and those integrate the moments within the storylines and allow you to sort of pop in and out of this world on your phone, basically. I think that's it. Alec, did you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's it.
I love this presentation, and I kind of shared your journey a bit, Jim, and the team in trying to kind of create this next generation of experiences with games. How did this come about as a concept?
Well, initially, it was a few years ago, around the time that Pokemon Go came out, that I had a different team of people that were looking at doing more of an XR, like a traditional overlay type of project. And that was right before we actually incorporated the initial company, before Pokemon Go was released. And that would have been more like geotagging of content to lat longs. and times, which was similar. So it wasn't just lat longs, but it was place and time. And we built that out as like a Web 2 prototype and then tested it heavily on people for months and months. And I think that we got so many insights for, you know, how overlays can be used and how they can't be used. And a lot of like the hype around, you know, essentially what we would get from presenting the project was, you know, geotag information everywhere. And then back in the Web 2 days, it was all about algorithmically displaying information that you care about in locations. And one of the first things that we found on the immersive side is that when you're out and about, like in the rain, in a crowd, you know, in Times Square, you're getting jostled, the rain is coming down on your phone, you can't really experience anything in an immersive sense in that environment. You're sort of like out doing, it's like you're foraging for you know, food or something, or finding a restaurant. You're not really in the mood to watch some, you know, immersive movie or music video. And even if you can do that, like a podcast or something, it's really, you know, a different level of concentration than something that is an interactive immersive project. And there were a number of other immersive projects out there. There was one called Detour, which raised a lot of money, which was an app which was very popular, but, you know, essentially would play information for you and stories. Like when you're on the Brooklyn Bridge, you would download that app, and you know, Ken Burns would come on and read, you know, a series of place-specific information. What we really found from users, especially going for a younger audience, was that when you portray a project like that as like sort of an immersive media project that's based on like technically learning things or sorting information, it's much less exciting than to have sort of, you know, a Fortnite type world that you're playing, you know, a game throughout your day. There's something about the whole core concept of presenting information in the world, which has not been successfully done yet, because it's very hard to do, if not impossible, to have something that's immersive, that plays for you at the right time out in the world, at least on the wavelength that we're looking to capture your imagination. Like on the immersive side, it's possible to, you know, essentially have Google Maps talk to you as you walk around town, and, you know, have display pins for you and have push notifications, but it's not the type of fun gaming experience that our users want. So I think that was our initial sort of breakthrough, was like building a prototype for a slightly different concept a couple of years ago, and then sort of pivoting.
Fascinating stuff. I really can't wait to play the game. Thank you so much for bringing the whole team to present today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.